Dean and all was always friendly, but Dee Dee didn't seem to like me. I don't know why every time I went over to Euclid Parkway, Euclid, Euclid, she'd make quite cutting remarks as if just by showing up I'd managed to ruin everyone's day. As the summer went on, Dee Dee's comments only grew louder. I was upset. I understood that I had choices. I could continue on it as the picked on new girl. I could give up on the parkway and just go back to my toys at home, or I could attempt to earn Dee Dee's respect, and inside that last choice lay another one. I could try to win Dee Dee over with words, or I could just shut her up. The next time Dee Dee made one of her remarks, I lunged for her, summoning everything my dad had taught to me taught me about how to throw a punch. The two of us fell to the ground, fists flailing and legs trashing every kid in Euclid Parkway instantly clustered in a tight knot around us, their hollers fooled by excitement. I can't remember who finally pulled us apart, whether it was Dean or my brother, or maybe a part who'd been called to the scene. But when it was done, something had taken place. I was now officially an accepted member of the neighborhood tribe. Didi and I were unharmed, dirt, dirt-stained, and painting, and destined, destined never to be close friends, but at least I learned her respect. My dad's book continued to be our shelter, our window to the world. We took it out on Sundays and summer evenings, crashing for no reason but the fact that we could. Sometimes we'd end up in a neighborhood to the south, an area known as Pale Hill, due to, due to an apparently large number of African American doctors living there. It was one of the prettier, richer parts on the south side, where people kept two cars in a driveway and had abundant beds of flower blooming along their, their walkways. My dad viewed rich people with a shade of suspicion. He didn't like people who were up uppity, uppity and had mixed feelings about owning a home. There was a short period when he and my mom considered buying a home for sale not far from Roby's house, driving over one day to inspect the place with a real estate agent, but ultimately deciding against it. At the time, I'd been all for it in my mind. I thought it would mean something if my family could live in a place with more than one floor. But my dad was naturally cautious, understanding the need to maintain maintain something savings for a rainy day. You never want to end up house poor, he'd tell us, explaining how some people handed over their savings and borrowed too much, ending up with a nice home but no freedom at all. My parents talked to us like we were adults. They didn't lecture, but rather indulged, indulged every question we asked, no matter how juvenile. They never hurried a discussion for the sake of convenience. Our talks could go on for hours, often because Craig and I took every opportunity to grill my parents about the things we didn't understand. We, when we were little, we'd ask, "Why do people go to the bathroom?" or why do you need a job?" And then blitz them with follow-ups. One of my early victories came from a question driven by self-interest. Why do why do we have to eat eggs for breakfast? Which led to a discussion about a necessity of protein, which led me to ask why peanut butter couldn't couldn't count as protein, which eventually, after more debate, led to my mom changing her mind about eggs, which I had never liked to eat in the first place. For the next 9 hours, knowing that I'd earn it, I made myself a fat peanut butter and jelly sandwich for breakfast each morning and never ate a single egg. As we grew, we spoke more about life choices and race and inequality and politics. Politics. My parents didn't expect us to be perfect. They also never sugarcoated what they took to be the harder truths about life. Craig, for example, got a new bike one summer and rode it east to Lake Michigan, Michigan to the paved pathway along Rainbow Beach where you could feel the breeze of the water. He'd been promptly picked up by a police officer who accused him of stealing it, unwilling to to ex, ex, accept that a young black boy would have come across a new bike in an honest way. The officer, an African American man himself, ultimately got a brutal tongue lashing from my mom, who made him apologize to Craig. What had happened, my parents told us, was unjust, but also unfortunately common. The color of our skin made us vulnerable. It was a thing we always have to navigate.